Okay, I'd like to welcome you here this evening. We're just a couple of minutes from beginning the meeting. Before we begin, I'd invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then I'll bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. Thank you, God, that you give us the opportunity to live in where we do in this wonderful city and this wonderful region. And God, we just thank you for the opportunity to serve the residents of this city. God, we ask that you give us wisdom tonight as we make decisions. And Lord, we just trust you for that. And thank you again for protecting us and for providing for us and keeping us safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, thank you. I'd like to again welcome you to tonight's regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. Let me apologize. Let me bring it up on my iPad. All right, so we've called the meeting to order. I'll ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse.
Here.
Amelia Williams. Jeff Watson.
Here.
Mike Overton.
Here.
Jim Reed.
Here.
Mike Lawson. Rick Evans.
Here.
Brian Powell.
Here.
Kathy Jaycox. Here. Ernest Kay.
Here.
All right, thank you. We'll begin with item 4, comments from citizens. If we have citizens that would like to address the council, we ask that you come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address. Please keep your comments brief, and the council won't act tonight on anything you have to bring before them. So if there's any citizens that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda, you're welcome to come now. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Council, you've had an opportunity to look those over. If there are no changes or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all opposed, same sign. Okay, and Brian, I'll try and remember you're on Zoom. There's about I'll give a little more time so it doesn't look like you vote against something you meant to vote for, okay?
That sounds good, thanks.
All right. Procedural motions, what's your pleasure, council?
Move for A and B.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Overton.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes. Carry 7-0.
All right, thanks. We will now move to item 7. This is a resolution making an appointment to the Public Facilities Board of the City of Springdale. I've already read it. This is to replace Blake Hanby, isn't it?
Replace Mike Morgan.
Oh, this is to replace Mike Morgenthaler.
Blake's-
Blake will be coming up
Yeah.
before too long. And I'm not trying to run Blake off, but anyway, this is Mike Morgenthaler, who's moved out of the area, and Brent Hanby has been put forward by the Public Facilities Board and needs your approval. So I've read the resolution.
Move the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Reed.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes. Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you, and we thank Brent for his willingness to serve, and apologize to Blake for trying to boot him off there too early. Sorry. You pass that along, Scott, will you? All right. We are at item 8, and Patsy comes in from vacation just to be here tonight. Thank you, Patsy.
The first item on the agenda is a rezoning request for 1.47 acres located at 3049 East Robinson Avenue. The request is to rezone the property from Agricultural District A1 to General Commercial District C2. Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from Agricultural District A1 to General Commercial District C2 and declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance to pass.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Anyone in the room? Hey, Denise?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes. Move the emergency clause pass.
Second.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
And as usual, there is a pending action to be taken on this one as an emergency clause. The next item is a waiver of a sidewalk requirement by Mr. Adams. And it's my understanding that Mr. Adams is asking for that to be tabled because he had to be in Little Rock and can't be here tonight, so
Right.
we'll table that to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Do we need, yeah, we'd entertain
have
a
a
motion
motion?
to table it
So
until
moved.
the next
Second.
meeting. Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Tabled by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thanks. Go ahead, Patsy.
The next item is a request for a waiver of sidewalk requirements in connection with a single-family dwelling being built at 4952 Owire Road. Planning Commission reviewed this request and recommends denial of the waiver. The title of the resolution reads, "A resolution approving a waiver of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks set forth in ordinance number 3725 to Elroy Torres in connection with 4952 Old Wire Road, a single-family dwelling." And I believe Mr. Torres is here that wants to address the council on this. Planning
Okay.
Commission's recommendation is to deny.
Was it
Okay.
unanimous?
What's this cross street? I can't read it.
I can't either.
Hatcher?
Hatcher.
I'm still
Yes.
trying to place
It's
where
Hatcher.
on Old Wire that is. Can you give me can somebody give me a,
Hatcher is the
Area?
first street north of 264
okay,
in that location, yeah,
okay.
okay.
And,
Planning Commission is recommending denial. We discussed it with him, the idea of making payment in lieu of, and he wants to address that issue with the council.
what is it he's wanting to waive?
The sidewalk along Hatcher, I believe, the sidewalk is already in existence on Owire Road.
Yes.
And this would be the sidewalk on Hatcher Street.
I'm not sure.
There's a sidewalk on Old White Road that was built when the,
When the-
264 was widened.
When
Oh.
the street, 265 went through.
So
the
this is
street
an old
improvements-
picture.
Yes, this is a
Yeah,
very
this
old
doesn't show
picture.
the new
Right,
street improvement.
our
Right.
aerials haven't been updated as
so
of
he's
yet.
wanting to waive just the sidewalk, how
On
about
Hatcher.
curb and gutter?
He's not required to do curb and gutter. When a single-family home, and that's all the development is, he's required to do the sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Right, and he's
along
asking for, he's asking for a waiver of that sidewalk along
Is there-
Hatcher Street.
Is there any other sidewalk along that street?
I think if you go on down there, there's one in front of that business that's right there across the street, so you can see a sidewalk there. I can't tell you about the rest of it. Some of this was in Bethel Heights, and we still don't know all the ins and outs of all that stuff yet.
Was this unanimous by the planning commission?
I believe so. It doesn't, I don't have that file with me, so I can't tell you exactly what it was.
Mr. Torres, would you like to come and? Come up to the mic, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So my dad is building the house. He's making it face.
Yeah, thank you.
So the house will be facing towards Old Wire Road. So that's why the reason he wanted to waive it is because he's not the house is not actually facing Hatcher Road, and that's where they want him to build a sidewalk. So that's why he was wanting to waive it.
So can you tell me, is there other sidewalks along that road?
I believe there's only sidewalks on commercial properties, because I think there's that one right there. I think it's like a stainless company, and there's one further down, which is also another commercial property, but residential, there's no sidewalks.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that road. Is there a ditch
There is a ditch, yes.
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
There's a ditch along Hatcher.
Yes, yes, there is.
Patsy, did the planning commission discuss,
Kathy, no, your mic.
pardon me?
The Mike, he said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Not two.
What was I going to ask? Oh, did the planning commission consider the ditch that is along?
I don't think there's any reason why the sidewalk couldn't be put back
Behind
behind
it.
that. I don't think there was any physical reason why it couldn't be done.
Right.
But the planning commission also discussed payment in lieu of, and that was not an option that they were acceptable with either.
Has your father reconsidered payment in lieu of? Is that-
I'm not exactly sure what that means. Could you explain it to me?
In effect, you give the money
Mm-hmm.
now to the city, and when the sidewalk, that area is developed, then the money is already there.
Okay. I might have to ask him because I'm not sure. He's right here.
That's okay.
Ask him.
Would you ask him,
Okay,
please,
yeah.
if he's reconsidered?
So, we have that ordinance to encourage sidewalks on our streets. And, just because there's not sidewalks out there already, this may be the first one. And then the property to the west of it may develop. There may be subdivision go in there. Who knows? And so then, we'll be kicking ourselves later at some point in time saying, well, darn, I sure wished we'd have put a sidewalk down on Hatcher. Payment in lieu of that only works if we develop Hatcher.
Yeah.
It doesn't, if the area begins to develop by other developers,
Understood.
yeah. So,
I don't mind the payment in lieu of, but in the other side of that, Joe, Jeff, to me, if there is a ditch through there
yeah.
and anybody else builds or the city widens that street or anything, what he paid to put that sidewalk in is wasted because it's coming out.
I don't know.
Well, I can't
will.
guarantee that that would happen on this one, so.
And we always require developers, if they've got a residence or a commercial structure that sides on two streets, we've always required sidewalks in, period, in the city of Springdale. I paid for a few.
Y'all are taking up my argument. I'm impressed. I'm usually the one that gets
Well,
talked about.
I've been
you know?
the beneficiary of your wrath before
okay.
and making me build them, so.
Okay, whatever you want to
Mr.
call
Torres, you have any additional? Okay.
I read the title of the resolution, and the planning commission's recommendation is to deny the waiver.
I still take the position that we don't even have to deal with it if we're not going to waive it.
We don't have to mention it at all.
If there's
I don't
no,
know, Ernest disagrees
no
with me
motion.
on that.
There's no motion.
Well, option two is denies the waiver of street improvements.
But if we don't take
But
any...
this says to Owire Road on the resolution. You said it's actually to Hatcher?
the Hatcher.
The location is at, the structure is really, sidewalk
If we don't take any action approving the waiver of street improvements, we don't take any action.
What was
So
the
we don't
action
have
the
to
planning
do it.
commission took? Did they make a recommendation, or did, I guess I need to ask Patsy what the planning commission did. Did they make a recommendation of denial?
The
or
planning
did
commission
they
makes a
deny it?
recommendation to you guys to deny it.
Then I
Because
think
the
we need
planning
to-
commission cannot commit city funds to do the sidewalk and waive it, so they're recommending that the waiver be denied. That's why it comes to you guys.
Which would be option two,
Yes.
as amended to Reed Hatcher Road.
Let me just for future ask, is there a reason, if the planning commission denies like they did here, well, is there a reason they need to make a recommendation for the council to deny, or
No.
can they just deny and then they come to the council?
Well, what we have done in the past, if the planning commission recommends denial and the property owner wants a chance to talk to council about it, is put on the council agenda with a recommendation for denial.
Okay.
I think the way it used
That's
to
in the
happen, the
ordinance.
planning commission used to actually take action and approve or deny, but then
Then it
for
would be
some
appealed.
reason, they felt like really they didn't have the authority to deny requirement of funds, so then they began just making
Well, if
recommendations.
you
I think it
remember,
was at
we-
the council's recommendation that we
Yeah,
bring
I-
it to
Because we had-
you,
I think you're probably right.
because we can't commit the planning commission can't commit the funds
Yeah.
by granting the waiver.
Yeah.
They can do payment in lieu of, and it wouldn't have to come forward. They could
Bill of assurance.
put the sidewalk in, but if it has to be waived, it has to come to you guys, and that's their recommendation for
Okay,
waiver.
so it sounds to me, Ernest, like your recommendation would be either to entertain a motion, either to approve the waiver
Option
or
two would be
or option two, which would be to deny the
But my
waiver.
point is that sometimes there's situations where we really don't want to
Take any action.
take any action.
If we don't, it
And,
dies.
and why should we have to? Because if we don't do anything, it
Well,
fails.
because if you recall, the ordinance was rewritten several years ago.
Okay.
That these waivers always come to city council unless the planning commission approves it with a bill of assurance or payment in lieu of improvements. That's the way the ordinance
It
reads.
says what now?
It says, if you look at it's
Uh-huh.
in chapter 112.
Okay.
It says, no city council approval is required if a bill of assurance or payment in lieu of improvements is given and approved by the planning commission. All other instances, it was changed several years ago where waivers come to this body. That's
Okay,
why it's
yeah,
this way.
but it's a request for a waiver. If we take no action, the request fails.
That's true, but the ordinance also says a party agreed by a decision of the planning commission has a right to bring it to the city council as well.
With that in mind, I move that this resolution pass with option 2.
Second.
Oh, you're giving in again.
We might want to take a look at that ordinance
What it
at some
says.
point.
The ordinance committee will address that
Okay.
at some point in time.
I mean, if the planning commission denies it, they could appeal the planning commission's decision like you do any other decision.
But if they don't take any action.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not quite seeing why we would I hear what the ordinance says. I just don't know why we're treating it different than we do.
Well, in the past, we had a number of folks that were complaining that they were not treated fairly at the planning commission. They wanted a method to address their grievance to the council, so that's exactly why we amended the ordinance.
Of course, keep in mind too, this is different than zoning ordinance.
That's right.
This is different. This is a whole completely different section of the ordinances. That Jim knows that some things can't even come to city council from the variances from the zoning ordinance can't even come to city council, so.
Not to muddy the waters, but you could either give them the option of it being denied or payment in lieu of, and if you approve it with a resolution with payment in lieu of, then he has two options. He either makes the payment in lieu of, or he puts the sidewalk in. You still have that option when it comes to you too.
But if we require all developers to put in sidewalks where we,
Okay.
I'm not arguing, I'm just telling you what that other
All right,
option
I
is.
just want to be sure, Mr. Torres, I just want to be sure everybody's up to speed on what the council's voting on. They're voting basically to deny the waiver, which would mean that your dad would need to put that sidewalk in on Hatcher. Okay?
So a yes
Everybody
vote-
clear?
So a yes vote would be
So a yes vote would be,
aye.
yes, it'd be to deny it. A yes vote's
And waive the street.
to deny the waiver.
Street and
Okay. Anybody else need to comment on this? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Okay, Denise?
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
yes.
Reed?
No.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Howe?
No.
By a 5-2 vote, the variance request is denied.
Okay. All right,
Sorry, the
thank you.
waiver is denied, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Item 9, Ordinance Committee, Mike Overton. Mike?
Mayor, we have two items that came before the ordinance committee. Both were recommended for approval by the council. Both deal with transferring responsibility for additional parking permits and for street and curb cuts to the engineering department. At one time, that was part of planning. And now it's split out, so that's the reason for bringing them forward. The first one is a ordinance amending Chapter 114-56B of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and that was pertaining to expanded parking permits.
Move the ordinance pass. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, I missed the committee meeting. So
Right.
could you help me understand the purpose of
Yeah,
this?
purpose of this is that in the past, when folks wanted to establish a parking space on the opposite side of the entrance to the structure, they could utilize it on the, say if it were on the right side of the driveway, and that always had to be approved by the planning department. Now we're saying that has to be approved by the engineering department, if in fact they're going to allow that. So it just transfers permission, our responsibility for issuing of a permit like that from the planning department to the engineering department.
I think it's from Public Works.
It is from Public Works.
Because code enforcement was part of Public Works.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's really just a change in wording, Kathy,
Yeah, so it's.
about who's responsible.
Engineering department.
I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah,
Engineering
What triggered this
is going to
change?
take that on.
yeah, whereas Public Works don't.
Yeah, and because when,
But Patsy controls so much, it's hard to make.
because the ordinance currently says Public Works, because code enforcement was part of Public Works back when the ordinance was written. This is just a cleanup of language to make
Okay.
it,
And,
Also raises the permit fee.
well, I'm not sure this first one does. Do
No.
they both? Okay.
Just the
And
first
I-
one.
I
Just the
did
first
get-
Just the first one, so, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, it's also raising the permit fee from $10 to $50.
I did get an email on this one, though, from somebody thinking that this was allowing people to park on the grass. It still is not.
No,
I want them to know that it's still against the ordinance in the city of Springdale to park on the grass.
This just, except for the increase in the permit fee, this is basically just bringing the ordinance in line with how we're going to be handling them.
where the
I just
responsibility.
I didn't understand what the point was.
Yeah.
Which is why I was asking that question.
Okay? Did you get a motion?
You have a
Okay.
motion and a
Motion.
Then
second.
that explains why everybody's looking at me. We have a motion and a second. If there's no other comments, we'll vote. All right, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Carries 7-0. At the request of the engineering department, there's no emergency clause.
No
Same on
emergency
this
clause,
second one
okay.
as well.
Then the second ordinance is an ordinance amending section 110-86 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale. And again, what this does is just changes the responsibility for issuing a curb cuts for driveways from the Public Works Department to the Engineering Department.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions on this? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. And item 10, Street and CIP Committee, Chairman Rick Evans. Rick?
I wasn't here that night, so I'm not sure who took it over, but I'll go ahead and.
Okay, who took that during, Mike did? Okay.
Better you got it, Rick.
Go ahead.
We had one item on street and CIP last week. It was street improvements, 64th Street from Sunset to Watkins to Apex Central for $8,197,640. It was moved forward with a recommendation for approval. The resolution reads, a resolution authorizing the execution of a construction contract for improvements to 64th Street.
And this is part of the bond money,
It's part of the bond money. This is for Phase 1.
and I move the resolution pass.
Okay, thank you,
Second.
Jim. Motion and a second. Phase 1, just so people know, this is from, improvements to 64th Street from Watkins to 412. And the bid did come in about $300,000 under estimates, so we were pleased with that. Okay, any other comments or questions?
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Brian,
Brian?
We didn't hear you.
I think it looks like he's saying.
Thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay, all right.
Silent vote.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes. Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 11, hopefully you got your sound right, Brian. You're going to go ahead and take this as chairman of the Police and Fire Committee.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
All right. So Police and Fire Committee, we met last Monday, and we had one resolution authorizing the purchase of property located at 511 Old Wire Road. And this was forwarded with recommendation of approval. And I'll read, the title of the resolution is a resolution authorizing the purchase of property located at 511 Old Wire Road, Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. And I believe Chief Peters is there, and he'll come up and talk to us about how this all came about.
Before the chief makes a presentation, I need to tell people that in the last 24 hours, I've gotten a lot of calls, some rather unpleasant regarding this. And I did not know this was on the agenda tonight. I missed the last item, so I told most of these people that it would be discussed during the budget. So I don't know how to handle this at this point. If this is truly my fault, because I didn't have the information, my fault. But I just wanted you all to know that for whatever the reasons, there's some strong opposition to this, and I still can't quite figure that out, but
Right.
I need to tell you that I did get these calls. I've been getting them all day.
Thanks, Kathy. There was some confusion around this, and I'll take the blame for all of that. I think some of the calls I got initially that were against this were because of the confusion that this was CARES Act money. It's not. It is general fund money, and the resolution reflects that. So I think we're clear on that. I spent 4 interviews with different news agencies clearing that up last week. So I think then the other opposition would be, I'm going to call it, I got a few of those about, and I know everybody did, just opposition to us buying a firing range. I think the chief can answer that, the need for the firing range, and then we can address.
Well,
But thank you for bringing that up.
My only point is
Yeah.
that I told those who I would speak to that it was not on the agenda for tonight.
Right.
And I want people to know I didn't deliberately mislead anybody. I truly just didn't see this item on the agenda.
Thank you,
So,
Kathy.
you're welcome.
Thank you. All right, Chief?
Thank you, Council and the Mayor. Just give you a little background on this. We've been needing a firing range for several years. We've came to the council, discussed it, had a plan. We went out and looked for property for an outdoor range. It was fruitless because we're either going to have to go too far out or pay far too much. This opportunity came up to purchase Sturm's indoor range, which is 5 minutes from the police department. It's handy and close. He's a motivated seller. He's offering to sell it to us well under the appraised value of the property. And as far as our need, currently we use the state range at the police academy. There is a tremendous demand for that range. We have to book it 6 months out, and often our dates are canceled. Then when COVID hit, it magnified that problem considerably. We weren't able to get on the range for an extended period of time. We had over 40 officers who were right to the brink of losing their annual qualification before we were able to get them qualified. It's an ongoing struggle. We've discussed it with the council over a long period of time. I think that this is just an opportunity it's a great opportunity for the police department. We're not going to have another opportunity this close to our facility. And I mean, if you have any specific questions.
Just to, for those listening and those in the room, we discussed this last Monday night at committee, but the property appraised for $845,000.
I believe that's correct.
We've got an opportunity to purchase it for $600,000. We know there's going to be some work that we need to do on it over time, but we still believe that it would be at or below that appraised value most likely by the time we do that work, the estimates I've heard. So I agree this is a great opportunity. I'd entertain a motion to approve. And then we'll
I move the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any other questions by the council? We'll allow the
I have one more question.
public to do that too. Yes.
How did you all decide to fund this?
It's coming out of the general fund.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just wanted to make
right.
sure that I heard
Thank
it
you.
correctly.
Thank you.
Chief, real quick, been a long time since I've been out there. Is there already room, like classrooms, like you can have other kind of training there as well?
Yes.
So not just the firing range, there's all kinds of training that will benefit the police department.
Absolutely. He has a classroom there. It's a smaller classroom, but he has a lot of area designated currently for retail space. We could repurpose that for classroom space, and we would have the ability to do a lot of different training there.
Do we also have the possibility to have other departments in there and doing their qualifying too?
Yes, yes.
Mayor, could you speak to the thoughts of the excess land that discussed?
We only to the extent that we pointed out it had excess land behind it. It's got a pretty good area behind it. I think you all have been thinking about how some of that could be used also for outdoor training. When we expand the actual range, that's going to take a little of it, not a lot, but for rifle qualifying.
Yes.
So
We had
Would
an
that
arc.
be indoor or outdoor?
It's going to have to be indoor. There's
Yeah.
too much development around there. I don't think it would go well as an outdoor range.
That was one of my questions too, Jeff.
No way.
So do you have thoughts about the use of the excess land?
Early on, about a year ago, I went to the mayor and I said, this is an opportunity. It's not our first opportunity. It's not our first choice, but it's an opportunity. We sat down with some architects and they drew out some plans that would put an outdoor range there, which would take up a lot of the land in the back. It was pretty pricey, so we backed off of that and we continued to look for an outdoor range. As a long-term goal, yes, we could utilize that range so that we would have a facility that we can qualify with all of our weapons. When we move into it initially, it's only going to be able to be used for pistols.
So you're saying we might build on the excess land is what you're saying?
We could build or expand on that one. It would depend on which would be the more financially responsible.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? What about anybody else in the room want to speak to this issue? Sure, come right on up.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, so,
Please state your name and address, please.
okay, my name is Jeronimo. I live on Electric Avenue, Ward 2. So, first off, the first thing that rings whenever I heard Chief Peters talk about this was fiscally responsible. But we are in the midst of a pandemic, y'all. That is $600,000 that could go towards, providing more testing, providing faster results. People are dying. Northwest Arkansas is a hotspot right now. Do we understand that?
Actually, I'm not sure we could use general fund money for that purpose. Let me just make sure you understand that we've received, or we will have received, over $900,000 of CDBG COVID money. That has all gone to area providers, every bit of it. All $902,000 will have gone to area providers to do exactly the things you're advocating for.
As they should, as they should.
Okay?
But it's not enough. We are dying out here. People need assistance. People need faster results when they get tested. And going through some of the expenditures, thanks to the Freedom of Acts information that we got, it is clear that there is space to be, there is money that could be spent on faster results and more testing sites here in Springdale. And I mean, as Mrs. Cox had just, or Jay Cox had just mentioned, there was ample opposition to this measure, and there hardly was any public input. So imagine the kind of opposition you'll feel whenever you actually ask the public to give their input.
We've actually gone through the same process we do with everything the council considers. It went to committee, it was on a published agenda for committee, and then it's been on a published agenda for the city council meeting tonight.
The only thing I asked the council to do tonight is to hold some more public input. It looks like you've got logistics done, you've got all sorts of appraisals. I mean, I'm not sure where I exactly read this, but I thought the building was appraised at $5,025 or $525,000. But that's neither here nor there.
No, it was 845.
I think he's talking about just the building though.
Oh, okay, that's possible, yeah.
So, with that said, I ask the council to sincerely consider having more public input. You will hear from both sides, but you will really hear the city and what they need, because people are dying, people are scared. This isn't fiscally responsible.
Okay. Thank you. Is that everything?
Yes.
Okay, someone else? Do we have anyone else? Sure.
Hi, my name is Audrey Romero. I live on Peach Blossom Avenue of Ward 2. I've lived here for the past 11 years. So I have my family, my friends, people who I've been to high school with, and okay. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, and I'd also like to agree that this is very irresponsible of the city council to prioritize buying a firing range over helping the community. Wasn't it just yesterday that we had to have a morgue trailer added to Washington County because we cannot keep up with the amount of deaths that COVID has happened in our community? In June, 3% is the Marshallese community in our population. 3%, and for some reason they were about half of the deaths that happened in Arkansas. Why is that? Why are we not taking care of our Marshallese community in Springdale? We are the ones with the most population in continental in the United States, but we are not prioritizing their deaths. We are not honoring that. And we're wanting to use $60,000 for a firing range, and our COVID fund, what was it? You said it was $900,000? That's just a few $100,000 more than what we're paying on that firing range. Shouldn't we use that more on COVID, on our family, on testing sites, on how to get testing? People are dying in Tyson because they're having to go to work, and Tyson are not providing proper COVID precautions. They're not providing safety. They're not providing paid leave, and people are dying in our community, and we're wanting to listen to the firing range? I just don't think that's responsible. I don't think that's caring. And I think it's very privileged for all of us right now to be discussing it. There's a lot of people in our community, those of us who are dying, that are not able to see any published agenda that you had with all of this jargon. You have to recognize that there's a privilege that a lot of us do not know what all of that is saying. But we're here to tell you that we are here. We're ready to pay attention. We need you all to communicate more effectively with our community rather than just publishing an agenda and expecting to know what all of that entails. You are not the decision makers, we are, and you should listen to us. And so that's why I think it's strange that there's no stronger connection between the community input and your decisions. So this was a decision that was made last week, that was published in some file on some website that I had so much trouble going through all of the different links to. It just needs to show that you all need to communicate better with the community, to listen to us, to not make decisions thinking that that's what's best for everyone.
Okay, thank you. Someone else?
There's a gentleman in the hallway, Mayor.
Okay.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, Council.
Hi.
My name is Jacob Hodges. I live at 114 Wycliffe Road.
Sir, would you hold
We
on?
couldn't hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, speak right into that thing, please.
my name is Jacob Hodges. I live at 114 Wycliffe Road here in Springdale. And what I wanted to ask was that because, word came out about this just a week ago, if I understand $600,000 is the cost of the building and that there will need to be more repairs to the building after that. I'm not sure if that's covering the land as well. So, but also.
600,000 is the total price we'll be purchasing the building and the land for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, what I wanted to, I'm not sure if everybody here was aware today, if they looked at the article that came out today, but the Washington County coroner just they had to invest in a new, a morgue? Had to invest into their morgue because of how many deaths. They're not able to keep up with the COVID deaths here in Washington County. So even though this may not be coming directly out of the CARES Act, I think that the people here in Springdale, our workers in the plants, we've had to shut down plants at a time where 200 COVID cases came up at once. Right now, our Walmart isn't accessible. And so before, y'all decide just to buy a new $600,000 shooting range, I would ask that y'all allow there to be some community public input, because these people pay that money. They pay our city funds. The workers, the people in the city do. They should have some extra input, because I don't having a vote on this. And I was also heard that somebody that the shooting range was 40 miles out, but I looked up 3424 Downham Road on my maps, and it shows that it's only 15 minutes out. That's a 15-minute drive.
But it's a 6-month wait sometimes to get booked in it.
Okay.
That's a state-owned agency that is being used by several smaller a state-owned facility that's being used by several smaller agencies throughout the region.
So, well, I did hear somebody say it takes 40 minutes to get to the shooting range.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why I wanted to address is that it's actually, according to Google Maps, it's 15 miles from here. I just Google mapped it right now. And I wanted to say that whereas, I understand that y'all are trying to give social distancing to the police who go to the academy so that they can't have so many people in there, but a lot of our Tyson workers didn't have option. A lot of our Georges workers didn't have options to do that. A lot of people, I don't think we got a mask mandate once this year. And one day, around June 10th to June 12th, we made up 30% of all COVID cases in the entire state of Arkansas. So whereas before you spend this, all that I would ask is that you do provide a public input session from the community, because they decide, they want to have determination over what's being taken out of their weekly check. Where's that money going, It's, just for that reason, I would ask that y'all do that, and be as transparent as possible about it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Any other comments? Okay, it's back to the council. We've got a motion and a second. Are there any other comments or questions before we vote? Okay, Denise.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 12, Health, Sanitation, and Property Maintenance, Amelia Williams. Amelia could not be here tonight. Would someone like to take that, or if not, I will, whatever you.
Mayor, did we leave off B on that?
Which one be?
I don't have a,
It's for safe haven baby boxes?
no, we're
We're
just
going
getting
to A
to that.
first.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just moving to 12.
Guess I ought to get.
I've done that before.
Catchy.
Yeah, it's catching. All right. So who would like to take this portion of the agenda?
I'll take it.
Okay.
It's a resolution approving an authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an amendment for an intermunicipal sewer agreement between the city of Springdale, Arkansas and the city of Lowell, Arkansas. Resolution forwarded from committee with recommendation for approval, and Keith Ward is here from Springdale Water Utilities.
I'll move we adopt this resolution if we don't have to hear from Heath Ward.
I'll second it.
All right, we got a second.
Is there anything important, Heath, that you needed
I
to share
will,
with
yeah, I
our
will
city?
say, I'll do what I always do and say, are there any other questions or comments?
I have nothing to add to the discussion, Mr. Mayor, unless the council has specific questions, but essentially this lets Lowell use their allocation of sewer that they have paid for what purposes they wish without restriction, and does not impede on our capacity for the city of Springdale.
And I did get a call from Chris Moore, mayor of Lowell, today, expressing his regret that he had to choose between this and a very important planning commission in Lowell. And I told him, I think we'll be okay, just go ahead and go to Lowell.
Like-
So that's, the reason he's not here is because of me, but
Like he said, it doesn't affect the residents of Springdale, doesn't cost us anything. They've already negotiated the number of gallons that they're committed to purchasing, and this just allows them to allocate it what's best for them, and has no effect on our citizens of Springdale at all.
That's correct, and as we get closer to hitting some capacity, we're hopeful that with the current administration in Lowell, we can plan for that in the future
Right.
together.
good deal. All right, roll call.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Carried 7-0.
And the next one's a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a lease and service agreement between the city of Springdale and Safe Haven Baby Boxes Incorporated. Ordinance forward from committee to recommendation for approval.
Sheila, would you like to come first? And Chief Irwin's here if we have questions for him. I know we had a few at committee. Hi, Sheila.
Hi. Hi, thank you.
There were a few that weren't here, and so catch us up.
Okay. My name is Sheila Purcell, and I live on 12 Cumbrian in Bella Vista, Arkansas, but I'm the director for Northwest Arkansas Respect Life, and our organization helps to promote upholding the sacredness of life throughout Northwest Arkansas. I was contacted by Monica Kelsey, who is the CEO and founder of the Safe Haven Baby Box. She's zoomed in. I'm not seeing her.
I'm not sure we've got her hooked up tonight, but if we need her, hopefully we can get her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here, guys.
Oh, okay, thank
Okay.
you.
I'm hiding.
You're hiding.
You must be in your jammies, huh? So,
I'm home right now, Sheila, so I figured it would probably be best for me not to go on camera.
okay. Okay. But Monica had contacted me regarding helping to move forward the possibility of the Safe Haven Baby Box here in Springdale. The law, the purpose of the box is twofold. The primary reason is just to help promote the existence of the Safe Haven law, which was passed here in Arkansas about 20 years ago. And it enables women in crisis situation with a newborn baby that they can safely place their baby at a police station or hospital, or now it's a fire station as well, if the baby is 30 days or younger. And what they have found is that the box enables the girls to be able to do this anonymously. So I'm involved in helping to promote the Safe Haven Baby Box, and I'm trying to get a contractor to do an installation of the box gratis. So, but Monica is the founder of it, and she's the one that actually invented it. She's also, besides the founder of the Safe Haven Baby Box, she's also an EMT with a fire station that she's where she lives. Her husband's the mayor. So, any questions about the box in general? There's a contract between the Safe Haven Baby Box and the city, and that Ernest Kate has reviewed that and has gone back and forth with the lawyers at Safe Haven Baby Box, and that's been approved and is all right. Is there anything to add to that, Ernest? I don't know. Okay. So, and then, of course, Chief Irwin would be working with the Safe Haven Baby Box to determine which fire station the box would be at. And I think right now we're looking at the one on Holcomb, right?
Station 1.
Station 1.
So there'll be
okay.
2 boxes?
Just one.
Just
One box, right. I'm glad you asked that, though. Rogers is very, very close to having a box, too. So we'll have the unveiling maybe with both boxes
Right
at
now,
the same time.
I know others are close, but right now, Benton is the only other city in Arkansas that has already had one installed and actually received a baby yet.
Yes,
Yeah.
last May.
Right.
Little baby boy, so.
Okay.
How long has because I apologize, I
No,
could
that's
not be
all
at
right.
that meeting. How long has this program been active in, I presume, the United States?
Yes, the Safe Haven law has been here since the early 2000s. Monica, the actual boxes were developed when?
In 2014, and we launched in the United States in 2016, and we currently have 51 boxes in multiple states.
Thank you.
And altogether, there's been 81 babies, is that right? 81 babies that have been saved? What-
Actually, this past week, we had another baby in one of our boxes, and another baby surrendered at a location that did not have a baby box. They were handed to a staff member. So we are actually now up to 94. And that's with the babies in our boxes as well.
What happens if there are twins? It's just, as I was listening to that, I was thinking, what if you have
I
twins?
haven't had that. Monica?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
She
question.
said, she asked if someone would want to place twins.
Actually, we actually just surrendered twins surrendered in August. It was not in one of our boxes. One of the biggest misconceptions about our program, and I'm going to put my video on if that's okay, so you guys can see me. I do look homeless because I've been working from home today, so I apologize. But one of the biggest misconceptions about our program is that we're just, pushing women to our baby boxes, and that's the farthest thing from the truth. What we want these moms to do is walk in and hand their child to a medical professional so that professional can offer medical care to the mom as well, because all of these babies that we're getting are not born in hospitals. They're born in bathrooms and at home. And so the twins, actually, we did talk this parent into surrendering these twins at a hospital so that these babies could get immediate care, and then we could also help this parent as well. But these bassinets in the boxes will accommodate 2 babies if there's twins. If there's triplets, we're going to have a problem because it's not going to fit 3 babies. But I don't know that that would be something that would probably happen. I would hope that mom, knowing that she would have multiple babies, would go to a hospital to make sure that her care and these babies' care is priority.
Thank you.
If there are no more questions, I move that this resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. Anyone else need to speak to this in the room?
There's initial payment of $10,000.
No.
There's no cost to the city.
I thought it was that all the costs have been
Sheila
covered.
has raised,
That's what I thought.
has raised all the money.
Yeah, the $10,000 for the boxes have already been raised, so
That's
there's
what I thought.
no cost to the city at all.
And there's an annual fee, according to the form here, the annual fee is $200, and the Northwest Arkansas Respect Life has agreed to pay. That's just for maintenance of the box or any kind of damage. We'll be paying that.
So there's no long-term obligation for the city at all.
The contract is 5 years.
5 years we can terminate with 60 days notice,
But as far as a financial responsibility, there is none for the
other
city.
than the 200 a year.
And they've
But
taken that.
that's being paid for by someone else.
Right, well, I mean, of course, there's alarm systems that go along with it. There's signage that's included in the initial fee, is my understanding, and all that's been taken care of, is my
Right.
understanding.
Got
Is there training
15,000.
involved?
I'm sorry?
Training?
Yes.
Speak to that, chief, a little bit.
Chief?
The founder is the one that does the actual training. Is that not correct, Chief?
That is correct. They will come in and do training for our organization. There is some training involved in what we do. The law exists now. So, I mean, just like they were talking about, anybody can drop a baby off at the fire station now, and we're going to take care of it. So it's not like we're not already kind of understanding of all that. This is just a little bit different process, but certainly they'll come in and train our organization to do that. We expect that will be no problems.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Al,
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 7-0.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for bringing this, Ms. Springdale.
All right, item 13, I'll just go ahead and read it. I think Scott is here to speak to this. That's why you're not just here for entertainment, are you, Scott? Okay, it's a resolution endorsing participation in the sales and use tax refund program authorized by the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003 and Arkansas Code annotated 15-4-2706D. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. And the company, of course, to offset, they requested the resolution that's required for them to participate in this sales and use tax rebate. That helps offset cost of equipment in their new facility. The company's purchasing 7 acres on Mountain Road from the Public Facilities Board, and they're in the process now of preparing their large-scale development, and so hopefully we get started on the building sometime this spring, early spring. So.
What does the steel yard do?
Like they sell steel products, provide for.
So
for
like,
anywhere from piping to angle iron.
Sheet steel to
Sheets, yes,
ang-
sir. They sure do. They have a facility, they've been in business for over 30 years in Paragould.
If I remember,
So they moving everything to here, or is this one of their branch facilities?
This is an additional facility for them. They currently employ around 45 to 50 in Paragould. The initial phase one here of this will be about a 35 to 40,000 square foot building, and it will employ 12 people initially here at an average of $22 an hour.
if I remember right, Scott, kind of to piggyback on Mike's question, they keep on hand different structural steel components
Yes.
that could be very helpful to someone doing a building here or in construction here that needs something quickly.
Yes.
And they've obviously been very successful at it. I've probably butchered that or just told a small part of what they do, but.
No, that's correct, and that's a service they've been providing over in Paragould. I think over northeast Arkansas, their footprint's within a 100-mile radius, but they also have within probably a 50-mile radius that they can provide almost immediate service. So if someone comes in and needs a part or something cut, they can handle that while you wait, basically.
So for contractors, developers, et cetera, this is a local source.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
exactly.
We've had several of these in our area before in the past, and I don't think we have any right now, so that I'm aware of.
Well,
Any
as far as
steel
that,
yards.
provide all of the services that they do.
Right.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Cox,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Item 14, I'm going to turn over, actually 14A, B, and C, I'll turn over to our city attorney.
Thank you. Items 14A, B, and C all have to do with, two of them have to do with abandoning a portion of utility easement. The third one has to do with abandoning a portion of a street. The state statute requires that before we can consider these ordinances, we hold a public hearing on these. So I just would suggest that we do one public hearing for all three. So I will ask if there's anyone here that wishes to comment on the ordinance vacating a portion of utility easement at Lot 10 Churchill Crescent, Phase 3, or Lot 13 Timber Ridge subdivision, or on the ordinance vacating a portion of a public street which is priced between Mill and Spring, if anyone has any comments. Not, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll read the title of the first ordinance, which is an ordinance releasing, vacating, and abandoning a portion of utilities located on property in Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas, declared emergency and for other purposes.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any comments or questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
That have an emergency clause.
It does.
Yes.
Move the emergency clause pass.
Second.
Overton,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Both the ordinance and emergency clause carry 7-0. Second one is an ordinance releasing, vacating, and abandoning a portion of a utility easement located on property in Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas, declared emergency for other purposes.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Move the emergency clause pass.
Second.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson? Overton?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0. And the last one is an ordinance vacating a portion of a dedicated public street known as Price Avenue pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated section 14-301-301 et sec, declaring emergency and for other purposes.
Move the ordinance.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? Denise?
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Powell?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Move the emergency clause pass.
Second.
Powell? Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am. Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0, and hopefully we'll have a parking lot over there very soon.
That would help. All right, I know there's some things we need to talk about, and I don't know if y'all want to include comments from council members, but I know we need to talk about budget meetings. And you noticed next Monday, we moved the committee meeting back a week so that we don't have committee before council. This is one of those months with an extra Monday in it. And we also have, Jeff, you want to speak to the schedule for committee meetings?
Sure.
Budget meetings, I'm sorry.
So I apologize if we messed anybody up by postponing the meeting from last night, but I just felt like with the proposed budget getting to us over the weekend or Friday, we really needed a little bit more time. I apologize to all the departments that were scheduled for last night. But after talking to the mayor's office and agreeing to postpone it, we felt like it was best to keep the second and third dates scheduled just as they were scheduled before. So that would be the ones that were, the departments that were planned for next Monday night will continue to be next Monday night. And then we were going to have what would have been the third meeting on the following Wednesday. And when I'm saying next, a week from this Wednesday.
Right.
And that would be the departments that were scheduled for the third meeting will continue to be on that Wednesday. I don't have the date in front of me.
12-2.
What is it?
Second.
12-2.
December the 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yeah, December 2nd.
So then, we need to come up with a date for the departments that were canceled from last night. Planning, fire department, can't remember who else.
Yeah.
But, street department, I think, maybe. And we had talked about the possibility of having it then on, I guess, would that be the 7th?
I think it's the 7th, that following Monday.
Following Monday, which would be prior to the first meeting in December, first council meeting scheduled for December 8th. So we'd have two meetings in a row, a budget meeting on the 7th, and then a council, so I don't know if anyone has any problems doing that. But that's, at least that's a possibility of having the third meeting on December the 7th.
That would, if that all works out, obviously y'all are going to decide whether you're ready to move it to council that next night. Be great if you can. If not, we still would have the possibility of calling a special council meeting sometime later in December and getting it all done in December, which is a
Well, and we really wouldn't even have to have a special meeting. We're scheduled for December the 22nd right now for our second meeting in December.
right. It's just that we usually don't have a council a second council meeting in December. So,
Right.
yeah, you're right, we
But, I
could
mean-
stick with that, yeah. Is everybody?
A lot of
yeah.
times we don't have that second meeting because it's so close to Christmas, but this one's, 3 or 4 days before Christmas, so.
Is everybody okay with that idea?
I'm
So that
okay
would be
with that.
budget meetings. We'd have a committee meeting, and right now, we don't have much on it at all, so it'd be a very short committee meeting, looks like, next Monday, followed by our first budget meetings. And then we'd have budget meetings again on Wednesday night, and then the following Monday. Okay?
Okay with that.
Okay, so that's
Good
what
deal.
we'll do.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, council. Any other comments from council members?
I wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jeff.
you bet.
I go along for that, but I want to say that I'm sure, I hope everybody's used it. Man, the extension of Gene George from 412 to Elm Springs Road is fantastic. And it saves me a lot of time. It's out my side of town, so
I just did it for you, Jim.
yeah, it's been really good.
Nice to have that open. Comments from city attorney?
I do. I normally don't, but I do have one comment. I don't know if y'all know, but Sarah Sparkman, who's been an attorney in my office since early 2013, is leaving for other pursuits. She's going into private practice. Her last day is this next Monday. We had a reception for her yesterday. It was well attended. And I just wanted to make you all aware that, and I wanted to state on the record for the public to know that Sarah's done a wonderful job working for the city, and she'll be sorely missed. We'll be welcoming our new deputy city attorney on Monday. His name is Ryan Renaro. I've not made a general announcement yet, so this is it. We're looking forward to him working for the city. We're pretty confident that we've made the right choice. It's a very difficult process, but we believe that we've made the right choice for our family, and we believe that we've selected a true public servant, which is what we are. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. And I'll probably
Will fit in with you?
I'll have him come and introduce himself to all y'all and
Great.
going forward.
Well, I thank Sarah on Facebook for all the work she's done for the city. She's been fantastic.
She's been good.
Sarah did a great job when I was on the planning commission, and we're going to miss her.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. All I have, I just wanted to be sure, I think you all have gotten this. I think Colby sent it out. The sales tax report for this month would be for sales taxes collected in September. We set an all-time record for the month at $1.56 million. It's an increase of 9.44% over November of last year. Our residents just continue to really support our local economy and local businesses, and we're very, very thankful in what we made preparation to be a very difficult year financially. Our residents continue to really show up, and we appreciate that very much. That 9.44% increase, that 1,560,000 does not include anything from Bethel Heights that we're also receiving. It's just still kept separate until after the first of the year sometime. So very good news on the financial front, and we appreciate all the support for our local businesses, because that really, when we see a number like that, it really speaks more than anything to our local businesses and to the support for them, which is, it's always important, but it's especially important this year. So that's all I had. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.